Hey guys, so first of all, I'm gonna ask you 3 questions. Who among you doesn't have enough money for proof of funds? Who among you are still not getting any job offer from a Canadian employer? And who among you has a pretty low IELTS and CRS score? If you guys answered yes to all of these questions, then this video is for you. Now, in this video, we are gonna cover the latest news about Canadian immigration. I'm gonna show you the tips and strategies on how to get a job offer and a recommendation letter from the participating community of the rural and northern immigration pilot program. And of course, I'm gonna show you how to apply for permanent residence if you do not have enough proof of funds, you are struggling with getting an arranged employment, and you have pretty low IELTS and CRS score. My name is Id. Intro. So first of all, let's talk about the latest Canadian immigration news that you need to be aware of. Before we move on guys, please consider subscribing to my channel, hit the bell, hit the thumbs up. I really appreciate all of the support. Alright guys, so on to our latest news about Canadian immigration. Finally, Marco Mendicino outlines vision for Canada's immigration system in first major speech since his November 2019 appointment as a minister. So he pointed out that Canada to welcome over 1 million new immigrants between 2020 and 2022. So Mendicino opened his speech by saying that Canada's future depends on immigration. As such, it is critical to have a dialogue on how many people Canada needs to secure its economic prosperity. And then, as you may know guys, one of the major problems that Canada is having is the labor shortage. So Mendicino said that a major part of the solution to this problem is to welcome immigrants. Today, some 80% of Canada's population growth will come from immigration, and estimates suggests that this will reach 100% by the 2030s. Now, a lot of you guys may not have enough money to apply for permanent residence, and so this is the right time and opportunity for you to apply for PR, because the rural and northern immigration pilot program requires very low proof of funds, as low as 8,000 Canadian dollars, which is way lower than the express entry proof of funds. And also, a lot of you guys may have really low IELTS and CRS score and is having a hard time getting a job offer. Well, the good news is 2 more communities have opened its door to immigration. And these are the Claresholm, which is a town in Alberta, and Vernon, which is a town in British Columbia. Alright, so before we move on to the actual step-by-step process on how to become a permanent resident of the 2 communities, let's talk about these tips and strategies on how to get a job offer, a recommendation letter, and eventually a permanent resident. Because I think that this is the area where a lot of applicants are not actually doing. And I truly believe that by implementing these strategies, you are gonna get a higher chance of getting a job offer and a recommendation letter compared to those applicants who are just watching this video and sitting and doing nothing else. Now, my first tip is when uploading a resume on the job portal, make sure that you include a cover letter as well. Do more than a normal applicant would do. Stand out of the crowd. Don't follow the herd. What I mean is, if everyone is just uploading a resume, be different by including a cover letter. Now, the question is, what are you gonna put in the cover letter? Now, the first thing you can do is to provide a proof that you will stay in the community. Alright, so if you guys take a look at the action items over here, you can see that there's actually 2 steps that you can take. The first step is to prepare a notarized affidavit or a legal statement from a lawyer specifying your intent to stay in the community. And then the second step is to mention that document in your cover letter. So guys, the idea here is that these communities invite you because they want you to become part of the community. They want you to grow with the community and help the community grow its economy. So if you guys are able to provide proof that you are gonna stay in the community, then definitely that is a big plus for the employer and definitely an advantage for you over other applicants. The second thing is you can provide a proof that you've lived in a rural area. So same thing guys as the previous one, simply prepare a notarized affidavit or a legal statement from a lawyer specifying a proof that you have lived in a rural area, and then mention that document in your cover letter again. Now let's take a look at sample affidavit of residence so that we guys know what it is and how it looks like. So I actually came across this website which displays documents and letters for providing proof, and there's actually a lot of affidavits. There's a general one, and there's the affidavit of residence, which I think you're gonna need as far as this application is concerned. We have affidavit of service, identity, consent, character. We have affidavit of lost document, which I think is the most common and which is one you are most familiar with. And also we have affidavit of support. But as far as your application is concerned, I think this one is something that you might need, which is the affidavit of residence. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So if you guys have recently moved to a new place or need to prove your current address or residence, then definitely you can use an affidavit of residence to get it done. Now, an affidavit of residence is actually a legal document that you can use to verify your residence and the residency of anyone living with you. They actually have a sample one over here, and so this is how a affidavit of residence actually looks like. Now, the main reason for this, guys, is that employers may be more likely to pick people who have lived in rural areas versus someone who just lived in large cities. As a matter of fact, the community prefer candidates who have lived as an adult, so that is 18 years of age or older, in a community with population of 10,000 people or less, and located 1 hour travel distance away from a large and densely populated urban area for a minimum of 6 months. And the third one is to provide a proof that you are settling together with your whole family. So the same action item as the previous one, guys. And studies have shown that if you guys have a community already in the location, including family, then you are much more likely to remain in the community. So guys, basically the main goal of this pilot program is to retain people in these communities for a long period of time. The second tip is to include a LinkedIn account in your application. Alright, so there's actually a place for you to add your LinkedIn account when you apply for Clears Home. So this field over here, this is where you're gonna put your LinkedIn account. Now, a lot of applicants are actually not going to put a LinkedIn account, and if you're someone who is adding your LinkedIn profile over here, then you have a big advantage over other applicants. The third tip is to gain some experience on high-demand NOCs so that you guys are not limited to just applying on certain NOCs, but also you can apply to other high-demand NOCs as well. Remember that NOC code is based on your work experience and not on your education. The fourth tip is to collaborate with people who already got their job offer or their recommendation. Alright, so there is actually a forum owned by Cohen where applicants are discussing their applications, and one member over here named Shekhar Garg said, "Hello team, I have received an offer letter through Rnip and secured a job as well. I'm filling up the forms and have certain questions. Would you please discuss with me or anyone who has secured a job as well and applied through Rnip, requesting you to please message me and we can discuss further about this." Shekhar. So guys, this is actually one of the platforms wherein you can actually join and collaborate with members so that you guys can have or get an idea for some people who already had or secured a job offer from the community. So the link for this platform can be found down in the description box below so that you guys can start collaborating with these folks. Now let's talk about if you guys are eligible to apply in the Clears Home or Vernon community. First, you guys need to have a 1-year continuous work experience in the past 3 years. Second, an IELTS CLB level of 6 for NOC codes 0 and A. So these are nurses, doctors, pharmacists, dentists, programmers, engineers, teachers, managers, and so on and so forth. IELTS CLB level of 5 for NOC-B, so these are plumbers, electricians, chefs, and so on and so forth. IELTS CLB level 4 for NOC codes C and D, so we have truck drivers, butchers, farm workers, fruit pickers, food servers, and cleaners, and so on and so forth. The third requirement is an ECA report equivalent to a Canadian high school. Fourth, you must have intention to live in the community. Fifth is to provide a proof of fund which is way lower than that of the express entry proof of fund requirement. And of course, meet the requirements of the community that you want to immigrate to. Now finally, let's talk about the step-by-step process on how to become a permanent resident specific to these two communities. First, let's talk about how to become a permanent resident in the Claresholm community. Alright, so the very first step to becoming a permanent resident of the Claresholm community is to create a candidate profile and apply for jobs. Now I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step process on how to do this step. Alright, so the first step is to go to this link and then click on the Claresholm RNIP portal button right here. And then it will take you into this page. So you guys see this create a candidate profile link. Go ahead and click on it. Alright, so first things first, you are going to have to answer several questions and simply answer them as honest as you can. So the first one is your English proficiency CLB level 4 or higher? Say yes. And then continue. Do you have a Canadian high school education or the equivalent to a Canadian high school credential with an educational credential assessment report? So this is basically your WES report. Say yes. And then continue. Are you legally working in Canada at the moment? I'm not. Do you have enough money to support yourself and your family after you get to Canada as proof of funds? Yes. Do you have at least 1 year of work experience in the last 3 years? Say yes. And have you looked into the service offered and the lifestyle provided by the town of Claresholm? Of course, yes. And then completely fill out the form including your first name, your family name, your email address, your password, and finally click on the continue button. And then it will ask you for more information. Simply continue filling out the form and then all the way down here click on the save button. It's actually a continue button, but since I've made some changes, so the save button appeared for me. So don't worry guys, because it's just the same whether it's a save button or continue button. Just click on the button right here to continue to the next page. Now don't forget to upload your resume and also add your LinkedIn account on this field. Now if you guys don't have a resume, don't worry, because on my website, on this menu over here, you can choose any of these options here to get your resume as well as your cover letter. And also if you don't have a LinkedIn account, you can always go to linkedin.com and click on the join now button to create a new LinkedIn account. Now as soon as you guys upload your resume, it is going to ask you for more items, which is your proof of education. In my case, I added my ECA report. It's going to ask you for your language proficiency, so I added my IELTS or your SLPIP report. It's going to ask you for your passport or travel documents, so I added my passport. And then finally it's going to ask you for your work experience, so I've added my work experience for the last 10 years. And of course your LinkedIn account over here, and finally click on the view available positions to check for the job openings. So this page guys is going to show you all of the available positions, and in order to apply for any of these jobs, simply click on the checkbox right next to it. Now guys, as you can see, there's only 6 jobs available right now, but don't worry and don't despair, because there's going to be a lot of jobs coming up soon. We are just starting out for Claresholm, and definitely some of the jobs are gonna be available in the next few days or in the next few weeks. So I suggest that you check this site all the time. So for example, if I want to apply for these 3 items here, actually you can actually apply for 3 positions at the same time. So I'm gonna click on this one, click on the next one, and then click on the third one. So right now I have 3 active applications, and all I have to do is click on submit applications button. Now let's move on to step 2. So after you submitted your application online guys, the next step is of course to receive a job offer. Now step 3 guys, once you receive a job offer, you are going to receive a recommendation letter from the community if you are qualified. So the letter is going to be sent out on your candidate profile. Step 4, once you get your recommendation letter guys, you can go ahead and apply for permanent residence. Alright guys, so since this is a paper-based application, all you have to do guys is to go to this link, and then it will tell you to submit all of the document checklists found over here, as well as to fill out all of the application forms that you can find right here. And then finally guys, you can submit your application to this address over here. You can actually mail it to Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program, Centralized Intake Office, PO Box 1500, Sydney, Nova Scotia, B1P 0J4, Canada. Now once you finally got your permanent resident guys, the next step is to apply for work permit at Claire's Home Employers, which is our step 5. And finally, step 6 guys is to start a new life in Claire's Home. So I congratulate you guys as early as now, and I wish you all the best on your application for Claire's Home. Now let's move on to the next one, which is Vernon. Now let's move on to the application process on how to become a permanent resident of the Vernon community, which is located in British Columbia. So the very first step in becoming a permanent resident of Vernon, British Columbia is of course to create a candidate profile and apply for jobs. Now I'm gonna show you guys the step-by-step process on how to do this step. Alright, so the first thing that you want to do guys is to go to this link right here, which you can also find down in the description box below, and then click on the create candidate profile on the side panel over here. Then it will take you into this page. Same with Claire's Home guys, please click on the create a candidate profile link over here. And then continue filling out the form, including your first name, your family name, your email address, your password, and then click on the continue button. Now at this point guys, you will notice that the layout is the same as that of the Claire's Home portal. Continue filling out the form guys until you reach the bottom of the page and click on the save button. Again, same as Claire's Home guys, upload your resume over here and also add your LinkedIn account right here, and then click on the view available positions. Now as soon as you upload your resume guys, it is going to ask you to upload your EC report, IELTS report, passport, as well as your work experience, just like what we did in Claire's Home. Now this page is going to show you all of the available positions, and to apply to any of the jobs here, simply click on the checkbox right next to it. Now guys, you will notice that there's only 4 jobs available as of now, but don't worry because there is going to be a lot more jobs coming up in the next few days or in the next few weeks, because we are just starting out with this community. So definitely there's gonna be a lot more jobs coming up. So I suggest again that you guys check on this portal regularly, because these jobs are gonna be updated often or regularly. Now let's go ahead and apply one job. So click on the checkbox and it's gonna go up here, and then to submit your application, click on the submit application button over here. Now simply wait for a few days or few weeks, and definitely the next step is to receive a job offer. Now let's move on guys to step 3, which is to complete the RNIP form and submit your application to the community. Now back to our Vernon website, this is exactly the step that I'm talking about guys. So simply submit the RNIP application form through your candidate profile to the community, and all other necessary documentation, including the one right here below. And also guys, you may be required to submit additional and supplementary information for these bullets right here. And take note, please consult and complete the document checklist and submit it along with the aforementioned documents. Now once you guys get your recommendation letter, the final step is of course to apply for permanent residence, which is what we have been waiting for. Again, since this pilot program, guys, is a paper-based application, all you need to do is to go to this link, which you can also find down in the description box below, and then simply gather all of the required documents in the document checklist, fill out all of the application forms which are required, and then submit or mail your application to Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program Centralized Intake Office, PO Box 1500, Sydney, Nova Scotia, B1P 0J4, Canada. Thank you so much, guys, for watching up to this point, and I will never ever get tired of wishing you nothing but the best on your application for permanent residence in Canada. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to write down in the comment section down below. If you guys haven't watched my previous videos about express entry, you can try going through these videos right here, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Good luck.